there, my name is Karen Y. Avenido. Now, let's talk about describing syntax. Now, what is syntax or describing syntax? First, let us define. So, the syntax is the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in a language. And describing syntax can be a challenging task. Now, how can it be a challenging task? First, because of its ambiguity. Sentences can often have multiple valid interpretations, and it can be difficult to capture all the possible meaning in a single grammar. The next is due to its variability of describing syntax, because there are often many different ways to express the same idea. Next is due to its complexity. The syntax of many languages can be quite complex, with intricate rules governing the ordering and structuring of words and phrases. Another is due to its evolution. Languages evolve over time, and syntax of a language can change significantly over the course of centuries. And lastly, cultural factors, because it is often influenced by cultural factors like social conventions, historical events, and literary traditions. Backus Noir Form, or BNF, is a notation used to describe the syntax of a programming language or other formal language. Extended Backus Noir Form, or EBNF, is a collection of extensions to Backus Noir Form. Abstract syntax trees, or ASTs, are a data structure that represents the syntax of a program or other formal language. Parsing expression grammars, or PIGs, are a formalism for describing the syntax of a language that allows for more flexibility than traditional context-free grammars. Attribute grammars are a formalism for describing the syntax of a language that allows for the specification of semantic actions associated with grammar rules. They can be used for both parsing and semantic analysis. Dynamic semantics is a branch of semantics that deals with the meaning of a language in terms of how it behaves when it is executed or evaluated. Example of dynamic semantics is the word bank. It can have multiple meanings, could be financial institution or the side of a river. Lexical analysis and syntax analysis are both critical stages in the process of compiling a programming language. Lexical analysis breaks the source code into tokens, while syntax analysis checks whether those tokens conform to the rules of the language syntax. The meaning of and importance of name bending, scope, and extent are fundamental concepts in computer science that are essential for understanding how programming languages work. Name bending refers to the process of associating a name or identifier with a value or object in a programming language. It is essential for programming because it enables the use of names to refer to values and objects, improve code reuse, enable scope, and ensure efficient memory management. There are two scopes. First is the static scope. It is determined by the program structure and does not change during the program execution. Dynamic scope is determined by the current state of the program and can change as the program executes. The importance of scope lies in its ability to prevent naming conflicts, improving code readability and maintainability, and avoid unintended side effects. Extent refers to the lifetime or duration of an object or value in memory. The extent of an object determines when it is created and destroyed, and it is critical for understanding how a program uses memory resources. And now, there are three types of extent. First is the static extent, which refers to objects that exist throughout the entire program execution, from the moment the program starts to when it's terminated. Static extent objects are allocated during the compilation phase and stored in a special area of memory called data segment. Next is the stack extent, refers to objects that are created and destroyed in a specific order during the execution of a function. Stack extent objects are stored in a special region of memory called stack, which is a last in, first out data structure. The stack is used for storing functions, parameters, local variables, and return addresses. Heap extent, also known as dynamic extent or leaf extent, refers to objects that are dynamically allocated during program execution and remain in memory until they are explicitly reallocated. Heap extent objects are allocated in a region of memory where it is stored called the heap. Application to constant variables, types, subroutines, and modules are all fundamental concepts in computer programming. Here are a brief overview of the applications. Constants. A constant is a value that does not change throughout the program's execution. Constants are typically used for values that are known at compile time, such as mathematical constants or configuration values. Variables. A variable is a named storage location that can hold a value. Variables are used to store and manipulate data in a program. Types. In programming, a data type is a classification of data based on its type and properties. Different types of data include integers, floating point numbers, strings, and Boolean values. Subroutines is a block of code that performs a specific task within a larger program. Subroutines can be called from the other parts of a program. Modules. A module is a self-contained block of code that provides a specific set of functionality. Modules can be thought of as libraries of code that can be used across different programs.
What is shallow binding versus deep binding? In shallow binding, the association between an identifier and its value or reference is made at the time the identifier is declared or bound. When a function is called, any references to identifiers within a function are resolved to their values at the time the function was declared, rather than at the time the function is actually called. Means that any changes made to those identifiers after the function is declared will not be reflected within the function. On the other hand, deep binding associates an identifier with its value or reference at the time the function is called. This means that any changes made to the value of identifier after the function is declared will be reflected with the function when it is called. To illustrate the difference, consider the following example code in Python. In this example, x is assigned the value of 10 outside of the function f, and then f is called with the argument 20. Because the first print statement inside f would use the value of x that was assigned outside the function, and the second print statement would use the new value of x that was assigned inside the function. The deep binding will use to the output of t. This is because the value of x would be to determine the value of the function, which is before the value of x is assigned inside the function. It's worth noting that shallow binding is more commonly used in most programming languages, including Python, because it is simpler and easier to understand. However, some programming languages, such as Scheme, use deep binding by default, and others provide options for using either shallow or deep binding depending on the
A closure is a function that has to access variables defined in its outer scope. Even after that scope has been closed or destroyed, closures are a powerful and flexible tools in programming, allowing for functions to be created and used in a variety of ways. It's a function that closes over or captures variables from its outer scope. The captured variables can be accessed and modified by the closure, even after the outer scope has been closed or destroyed. Closures are often created by defining functions inside another function. Closures provide a way to create functions with private variables that cannot be accessed or modified from outside the function. Closures can be used to create higher order functions, which are functions that can take other functions as arguments or return functions as variables, as values. So closures in programming languages in JavaScript. Closures are commonly used to create private variables and methods in object-oriented programming. In Python, closures are often used to create decorators, which are functions that modify behaviors of other functional and flexible tools in computer programming, providing a way to create functions with access to variables from their outer scope. They can be used in a variety of ways, from creating private variables to building higher-order functions and functions factories.
Hello there, I'm so excited to tell you about my report. Because my report has some rock and roll. It's all about aliasing, overloading, and polymorphism. Computer program is a quickly developing discipline that frequently brings fresh ideas and approach to tackle challenging issues. Aliasing, overloading, and polymorphism represent some of the fundamental ideas that are essential to developing efficient and effectively software system. Aliasing is a term used in computing to describe a situation where a program can access a memory location for data utilizing various symbolic names. For example, in this illustration, the integer variable has a significant 5. The memory location where it's stored is pointed by two separate pointers, ptr1 and ptr2 respectively. Programming aliasing can enhance library or framework root, allow methods and operator overloading, allow code reuse and extensions, and make code more readable. Overloading. Programming language offer an attribute called overloading, which allow many function or operator to share a single title yet with distinct argument lists. For example, here is an example of overloading. The plus operator is overloaded in this instance to work with 3 different kind of operands: string, float, and integers. Programming overloading enable flexible in function or operator usage and result in more flexible and easy to use code by allowing several function or operator to share the name but distinct lists. Polymorphism is a crucial idea in computer coding which enable a specific task or operation to perform with various information or item kind. For example, the 3 subclass that inherit from the animal and override the sound function with their own implementation are shown in this example. The animal is a common category that has a sound method. The animal parameter of the make sound method which can be project of any class. And that's all. Thank you for listening.